Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Shri Gurudeva ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Saparshat Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur-Nitananda Prabhu ki jai, Saparshat Gaur Hari ki jai, Shri Radha Manju ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari 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 Bo. Hare Krishna. Today, I'm feeling very grateful, and I want to thank Jamuna Bihari Prabhu and Leela Brindavan Devi Dasi for helping make our ashram spiritually successful by helping to manifest the purpose or serve the purpose of the ashram. An ashram fulfills many important services, performs many important services. And so having the Vivaha Yagya, or the wedding sacrifice or ceremony, is one of those important services that we perform. What is the importance of that in a Vaishnava society? Like, we're not intending to do weddings for any kind of like random event. We perform Vaishnav, Vivaha Yagya. What is the importance of that? You could say sacrament, or that holy, sacred matrimony in our culture. It's very important. There are many different samskars in the life of a devotee. Samskar is something that creates an impression, or it is an impression. And so we are performing spiritual life and developing spiritual impressions. And so in an ashram, part of our service is to help facilitate the samskars that help you develop in your spiritual life towards the positive attainment. In our path of bhakti, it may be called liberation, but actually it's beyond. As we define mukti or liberation to be attaining your spiritual identity and form. So we're in the path of relationship or bhakti, not the path of negation. Our Gurudev would say that there's different goals and processes in life to attain those goals. If your goal is like abundance in this world or wealth, there's a certain process to attain that wealth. If your goal is achieving the heavenly planets, there's also a process to get to those planets. It's not merely the accumulation of wealth in this world. So if your goal is heaven, then the process to get to the goal is acquiring pious merits, punya karma, and that can take you to the heavenly realm. If the goal is moksha, liberation in the path of jnana or knowledge, if the goal is moksha, then the path is jnana. And if the goal is bhakti or Radha Krishna's service, then the process or the way is bhakti yoga. Especially as defined by Srila Rupa Goswami, anyabhilashta shunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam anukulena krishna anushilanam bhaktir uttama. Topmost devotion for the Lord, devoid of any kind of mood of, receiving something in exchange for your worship, and not covered by fruitive activities, yoga processes even, or knowledge, gyan in the path of what we say. There's types of gyan we don't accept, types of gyan we do accept. Like that mood, tam aikya, jiva aikya brahma gyan, we don't accept and follow. It's said, give it up. We follow tat padartha, tam padartha, how we can serve God, that knowledge, the process of love and devotional service. So why I'm mentioning this? Because we can see it's kind of like human life, you have the possibility of actually defining goals and striving towards them, going beyond the basic necessities of life that we find in the animal kingdom, right? Eating, mating, sleeping, defending, ahar nidra bhaya maitun. We also do that as human beings. But if we only do that, then we're no better than animals. Dvipad pashu, two-legged animals. So to do more than that, that means we start identifying what are the values that I have and what am I striving towards, and what is to understand that properly, we should understand what is the real potential of the human being. What is our nature as a human being, and what is our highest prospect? So therefore, we say that even this world is temporary, birth and death is a constant, change is a constant. So whatever we accumulate, we'll lose in this world. If we go to heaven, Krishna says in the Gita, we'll also come back down to this earthly realm. And if we get mukti alone, without relationship, it doesn't necessarily fulfill the need of the soul for relationship. We say relationship means the body is a vessel. And so we have a physical body in this world, and in the beyond also there's that opportunity to have spiritual form, a spiritual vessel for the service of the divine or the activity of love, loving exchange. So that's why we say, oh, I'm like Krishna Bhakta. Why? Because in the spiritual dimension I can also have a vessel for the exchange of loving relationship or the moods of love with the Lord. So therefore, that's why we perform these activities or samskars, especially in these most important stages of our life, because they help us go on the upward path. And they help define us as distinct from just living like an animal. Like we were saying the other day, animals don't bother doing big weddings. Human beings do weddings for their animals. In the Chaitanya Bhagavad, it's described, before Mahaprabhu came, Advaita Acharya was disturbed. He was saying, they're wasting so much money and time doing extravagant weddings for cats and dogs. This cat's marrying this cat, this dog's marrying this dog. And Advaita Acharya was like, it's foolish people. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time also, he described how people would do such elaborate festivals for very mundane activities. So what we're doing, it's a blissful occasion. It's a festive occasion. It's described that some holy festivals and things like that, you're supposed to rub yogurt on each other and throw milk and ghee and colors, and it's ecstatic. But people sometimes think, oh, if it's spiritual, it must be really dull. Oh, I'm doing some religious thing, it's spiritual thing, so it's very right now I have to be very serious and not have fun. And then when I'm drunk and partying, that's when I can have fun. But then we create this dichotomy where we think spiritual life is something negative and material life is something, people say, why is everything that's good feel so bad, whereas everything that's bad feels so good, That's because people don't understand when you follow the process of bhakti, it gives happiness. I did a radio interview in Maui, and we were talking about different things, and kirtan, this and that, and he said, Dr. B said, you know what, you look very healthy. It's like, as I'm seeing you now, you feel very healthy. So spiritual life doesn't mean, oh, I'm miserable, and I'm, we have different sects that you have a skull on your desk, and that's good because it helps remind you that you're not this body and you're going to die. But just because we say we're not this body, that's the neti side, what we're giving up. What's the positive side? What's the pravritti, not just the nivritti? The pravritti means the positive attainment. So festivals like this, they're spiritual festivals that are blissful, that are ecstatic, that give you a glimpse of the ecstatic realm of divine consciousness in the spiritual kingdom. That's why Srila Rupa Goswami says, Nam Gokula Mohotsavayate. In the spiritual realm of Braj, every day, every moment is a festival. This is further corroborated by Lord Brahma himself when he says, every step, is like a dance, every word is like a song. There are rivers coming from all the Kamdenu Surabhi cows. Braj is that place that is like here, oh, it's very nice, weather is good. Yes, but wait till January, February. It's also nice, according to your perspective. I love it. But in Braj, our acharyas would say, everything is there. The only pain is pain of separation, though. There's none of the material affliction. Adhyatmik, Adidaivik, Adibhautik. These three tops are not in the spiritual kingdom. Adhyatmik means problems caused from your own mind, your own self, your body. Adibhautik from others. Adidevik from natural environmental forces. So all of we are, like we were in Baltimore and I was talking with one Prabhu, Nilamada Prabhu. We don't want to simply be involved in neti and neta. What's that mean? Neti means not this, not this, not this. Give this up, give that up, give this up, give this up. And neta means political action, politicians. So neti and neta, this is what people spend a lot of time on. Did you hear what this person did? Did you hear how they do this? Did you hear about them? And politics means purposefully dividing people. So it's like there's a political campaign means purposefully dividing people and highlighting differences and then causing division. Instead of saying, look at this speciality, look at this speciality, look how they do it, it's very nice. Look how they do it, it's very nice. So I say we try to avoid neti and neta. It means we should not give up intelligence. We should understand like what is our line and how to follow it properly and not just become like too casual and everything goes. No, we follow our line very seriously. And neta, we understand what we are not. But what are we trying to attain? And so in Bhakti, this very beautiful verse in the Bhagavatam, Bhakti pareshanubhava virakti ranyatra. When you follow Bhakti, simultaneously three things occur. And Jiva Goswami describes this. Tushti pushti shud apayo. The Bhagavatam describes this example. It's a very interesting example. Tushti pushti shudapayo. Tushti means some satisfaction comes. So that's what we were talking about yesterday. The difference between the pursuit of fulfillment and purpose and responsibility and relationship versus the pursuit of happiness and immediate gratification. And therefore, tushti means you become satisfied. Yatma samprasidati. Satisfaction comes. And nourishment, pushti comes. And shudapayo, hunger is diminished or ceases. So bhakti is like that. The example is given of eating food. When you eat food, if you're hungry, you simultaneously become satisfied, nourished, and your hunger diminishes. So spiritual life or bhakti especially, it's not a negative process, it's a positive process. You become satisfied or happy, you become blissful. You become nourished spiritually, emotionally, your well-being increases. And shudapayo, hunger diminishes. And is ultimately, like it said, nashta presh abhadreshu. By the process of hearing, chanting, and this process of bhakti, abhadreshu, almost all inauspicious things are completely eradicated, and then finally, upon achievement of bhav and prem, it's completely gone, and you achieve that ultimate mukti. For us, mukti means hitva anyata rupena swarupena vyavastiti. Becoming established in your swarup, that is mukti for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, your spiritual identity and form. So shudapayo means all kinds of material miseries are extinguished, all kinds of material pangs and disturbance are extinguished. So that's the negative, like giving up process. But it's considered to be like the least important because it's automatic side effect. So that's why we say, when we quoted this verse yesterday, Savai pungsam parodharma yato bhakti radokshate ahaitikya pratyata yatma samprasidati. Bhakti is blissful. So we're having a blissful festival. Blissful spiritual festival. This is what we do here. So all of our festivals, they should be not that, now we're doing the spiritual thing. Oh man, when's it over and I can just have fun with my friends and party. No, the bhakti part is the fun part. Dancing in kirtan, taking mahaprasad, dancing in front of the deities, hearing about Krishna's pastimes, Krishna Katha. hearing about Gauranga's pastime. This is blissful. This is our Mahotsav. Nam Gokula Mahotsav. This is the festival. So therefore, I want to thank Yamuna Prabhu for helping us do our first Vaishnav Vedic wedding here as a blissful spiritual festival on the upward path, the path towards the achievement of our ultimate salvation or ultimate grace, entrance into the spiritual kingdom. As our acharyas would say, if we practice bhakti very seriously, in one life we can achieve the kingdom of God, if we follow very seriously. So we're going on that path. That is our sadhya. That is our goal, and this is our sadhana. So in the life of a human being, what defines us or separates us from animals is that we can practice spiritual life that uplifts us and can help us exit the cycle of samsara, birth and death without purpose. Samsara is just birth and death without ultimate purpose. Because Mahaprabhu says, Mama janmani janmanishvara bhavatad bhakti mahaituki tvayi. Let me be born again and again. Janmani janmani. He doesn't even pray for liberation. He says, Nadanam nadanam na sundarim kavitam vajagadish. I don't even want na yoga siddhir, na mukti. I don't want liberation. I don't want yoga siddhi. I'm not interested in those things. I only want devotion for you life after life. So what's the difference between life after life in devotion and life after life in material existence? One has no purpose. For it said, Dvipada Pashu. We're born, we die, without any. It said, Nivritta Tarsher Upagiya Manat Bhavoshada Shrota Mano Birama Ka Uttama Shloka Vina Pashugnat. Those who are killers of themselves don't practice spiritual life. Vina Pashugnat. They're considered butchers. Not just of animals, of the Atma. Because they're keeping, like in Hindi, like dakna. They're holding back the potential of the spirit. And we are spiritual beings. And so human life is meant to, not to reveal and to manifest that spiritual potential that is can be properly cultivated in the human form of life. Because ultimately we say the spirit in the grass and the tree and the dog and the elephant, it's all the same spirit, the Atma. But in the human form of life, now we can properly manifest that unique potential of the Atma to achieve relation with Paramatma and to be in that kind of Jivan Mukta state. So therefore there's an important verse. Labdva sudurlabamidam bahusambhavante manusyamartadam anityam apiha dira turnam yatetana patet anumrittu yava nishreya shaya vishaya kalu sarvatasyat 11.9.29 Srimad Bhagavatam. This human form of, understand how special this human form of life is. On this property there's billions of jivas. There's about 40 human beings. So you're 40 out of a billion and more on this property. What to speak of bacteria and things like that. Just like ants and insects and worms, leaves, blades of grass, trees. Billions of living entities on this property. And about 40, 50 human beings. So you're 1 in a billion already. Already you're 1 in a billion. Confirmation. So therefore we say, take advantage of this opportunity. There's nothing worse than, like we say, on your gravestone, it shouldn't be written, potential. It should be written, fully realized potential. So what is the potential of the human form of life? Labdva sudurlabamidam bahusham bhavante manusham artadam anityam. It's anitya, temporary. Therefore there's urgency. Athato brahma jigyasa. Now, therefore, I shall inquire into the absolute. Ata ato. Now, therefore. Tasmad gurung prapadyeta. Tasmad gurung prapadyeta. This verse is connected to this first aphorism of Vedanta Sutra. Tasmad means therefore. Now. Ata. Henceforth, I shall begin the spiritual path. Because I have achieved the human form of life. Because it's temporary, anityam. But yet, apihadira, it can give you the highest ultimate destination. So what should I do? Tornam yateta napatet anumrittu yavan. Before I die, anumrittu yavan, nishreyasaya, I should work towards the highest good. Nishreyasaya. Because in every species of life, nishraya, vishaya, sense gratification is available. So therefore, in spiritual life, we say spiritual sense gratification. What does that mean? What is spiritual sense gratification? Sarvupadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam hrishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchate. Sevananda, that is spiritual sense gratification. The bliss of loving service. Loving exchange. Love is exchanged through service. That's how you experience it. Right? So we can go 5-6 more minutes. You can see how much time is there. Yeah. We should finish now. Do Arti, 5 minutes more. Everyone's okay? So we want to experience the bliss of the exchange of love, which is service. Sevananda. And therefore it said, offering your senses to Krishna in his service, that is blissful. Dadati pratigrinati guyimakyati prichati bhunkte bhujayate chaiva sadvidam priti lakshanam. And you can also perform those loving exchanges with devotees. And that is blissful, because it's a symptom of love. And love means something that gives naturally happiness. Right? If you were to say, what's the definition of love? And you were to elaborate upon it, write a thesis upon love, at some point you'd probably include the mention of some kind of happiness or some emotion that gives you a sense of like pleasure. Right? So Sevananda, Premananda, that is the bliss we're seeking. And we can experience that bliss through loving exchanges with devotees and with Krishna. And so that's why it said, what is distinct, like in a sacrament like marriage, why do we perform these samskars? We sit in front of the fire as witness, and guru, and devotees, parents, and you perform this holy. Why is it that weddings are generally performed in churches or temples? Because the idea is we are coming together in union in service of the divine, in service of the absolute truth. That is then described to be a spiritual wedding. And therefore, it doesn't mean it's not blissful, it's more blissful, because we know that we're coming together in a blissful life with the highest prospect. And so therefore we do all these other samskars. After the wedding samskar, there's other samskars that will take place, like Garbhadan samskar, Namkaran, Annaprasan, Jata Karma. All these different samskars, or spiritual, you could say rituals or activities, are positive things. So the reason I said this verse about Bhakti Parishanubhava, it's helpful to think of spiritual life as an opportunity, not an obligation. Opportunity versus obligation. When you tell someone you have to do something, immediately, hey, why? You have this amazing opportunity, you want me to tell you? That you can make this specific kind of investment that has no risk of failure, and it has the highest possible reward. There's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam we learned, Taktva sadharamam bhajana pakvo. Even if you fall during your practice of bhakti yoga, the smallest performance is never lost. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate matopa. And it frees you from the greatest fear. How wonderful is bhakti. In the translation, it said, there is no risk of being unsuccessful in bhakti whatsoever. So we're performing that activity that has the highest possible reward with the lowest risk. It's a great investment. So spiritual life is a great opportunity, not an obligation. Krishna doesn't demand that we free ourselves from samsara. He says, if you like samsara, I arranged it for you. Take birth, die, enjoy. But we're at a civilizational crossroads. Nowadays, people are trying to expedite reincarnation. I was thinking about this morning. I was like, what should we talk about? We want to expedite reincarnation by reincarnating in this body without giving it up. What does that mean? This is a political subject, so I don't want to get into it much. But people are like too anxious to get their next body. What does that mean? I'm a man, I want to be a woman now. I want to be an animal now. I am a wolf person. And I know I'm not ridiculing this, because I have friends who teach. You know why? Who in the school they have someone who's like, I'm a wolf, or I'm, and So we're expediting reincarnation because Krishna's provided that opportunity. Everything's an opportunity. If you want to be, Srila Prabhupada would say, you want to eat meat, then I'll give you a body that's better for that. As a human being, it's better suited to your digestional tract, your teeth. It's more suited to a vegetarian diet. So you want to eat meat like a carnivore, okay, become a tiger. I'll give you the body that you want according to enjoy the jiva is calm. The jiva has desire. It said the jiva, not the jiva is, it said that there's a verse in Upanishad, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanya Chaityananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kamam. God is he who fulfills all desires. Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kamam. So, okay, you want to enjoy like that, enjoy like that. You want to enjoy like that, enjoy like that. But we say, achieve your spiritual identity. And don't force people in, like, by your ideology to act in such a way that's not in their best interest, because it becomes like a fad. I know like 5-6 people in Hawaii, like, that are, and they're very close, so they say, oh, why is it increasing so much? It wasn't like that before. It's because it's being pushed as an ideological agenda. And so not to get into politics, that's not the point. My point is, what is spiritual life? And that the need for education in spiritual life is so important. There's such a need for spiritual education. And in a way that's positive. Opportunity, not obligation. We see a lot of religions teach, if you don't do this, you're going to go to hell forever. Doesn't sound so nice. Right? If you don't do this, you're going to go to hell forever. So you feel obliged. Oh, I better do it. So we say, if you do this, you're going to enjoy spiritual life forever. And if you don't, then birth and death is a cycle, duality of material life. You'll have some happiness, you'll have some distress. Don't worry, you're eternal and you won't suffer eternally. It's not possible. You may have to suffer for some time, like you get incarcerated, but then you come out. Even in like jail, sometimes you see people get sentences for like 350 years, and you're like, how's that possible? It means this life and the next life and the next life. Even the judicial system incorporates reincarnation. Therefore, we pray to our Guru Varga that how can we go on the upward trajectory? At the civilizational crossroads is a great time for growth, because it's a time, like Srila Prabhupada, when he came to the West, said, when there's a time of like confusion and a churning, it's like a churning of the ocean. Churning of the ocean is a positive thing. Anartha vritti has to come before artha pravritti is attained. The giving up of the negative things has to occur, but what's the best way for anartha vritti to occur? It's by striving towards the artha pravritti. And as that is attained, then the other thing is like a skin shed, like a snake skin. Because that's also described in Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a verse we were reading, very beautiful. I don't want to go too long, but it's an interesting topic, so if everyone's okay, maybe 5 more minutes. It's a very interesting conception. These are just some of the recent verses we've been memorizing and talking about in the mornings. This beautiful description given by Narad Muni to Yudhisthira Maharaj in the first canto about Shishupal. Why is it that Shishupal blasphemed the Lord and achieved salvation? His Atma came out like a lamb, Jyoti, and entered the feet of Krishna. Why is that? He was the worst blasphemer, and we say, never blaspheme the Lord. But he did it like in the most successful, like the most perfect way he blasphemed the Lord. Like his whole life was designed around how to create a perfect person who could just blaspheme the Lord to the best extent. Perfection of blasphemy. And yet he achieved salvation, liberation. So Narad Muni said, the Lord doesn't see things like we do on a mundane realm of duality in this world. He's not afflicted by this idea of friend and foe, criticism, blasphemy and praise. It doesn't affect him. When we worship God, it's for our benefit. When we do kirtan, it's for our benefit, because a lot of people would say, oh, God is just needing, he's just needy. Oh, he wants you to praise him, he wants to sing about him. No, he doesn't. You think Krishna's like waiting, Mother Yashoda, nobody did kirtan today. Oh, Mother Yashoda, They didn't offer me like this chirwa batasa. In Bengali, do chirwa batasa. It means like a sugar candy, and some flat rice, and they just leave it there all day, and some bananas, and sometimes flies come. Krishna's not waiting for that kind of offering. It's an opportunity, not an obligation. Madhya Yashoda and Rohini Mata and Radhika feed Krishna very nicely. He doesn't need our offering. He's only hungry for our love. If we decide that I want relationship with you, he says, welcome. Make relationship with me. You're welcome. So there's this beautiful verse. Narad Muni says, 4 different ways to approach Krishna. Kama, dvesha, bhaya, sneha, yatra bhakteshware manaha. Aveshya, become absorbed. Aveshya tad. Become absorbed in Krishna. And he says a 5th way also, bhaktya, by devotion directly. But kam, dvesh, bhaya, sneha, by lust, by fear, by affection, or by enmity. Anyhow, become absorbed in Krishna. And then Narad Muni says something very interesting. It's a very interesting verse. I can show it to you after. Quote it. It says that this kind of deep absorption in enmity can grant you even more quick results than just like a kind of ritualistic worship that has no affection. Like bhakti includes a mood of affection and sweetness. If you're just doing the ritual with no love for Krishna, then he said even enmity is better because you'll be more absorbed. He said you'll more quickly achieve salvation. So then we say, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, why do we say, okay, why not just, someone asked the question at the class, why don't we just learn to hate Krishna? And just be absorbed in that so much that we achieve liberation, because you will. You can just learn to hate Krishna. Hate God, hate God, hate God. Krishna, 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 oh, Krishna. And you'll get liberation if you're absorbed. So we say, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we don't want this kind of liberation. What is our goal? Pancham Purushartha Krishna Prem. Dharma Artha Kama Moksha is not our goal. Our goal is beyond that. These are the Chaturtha, 4 Purusharthas. Dharma Artha Kama, achievement of wealth, sense gratification, liberation, and performing material religiosity for that purpose. Pancham Purushartha Krishna Prem, that is our objective, as taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How to develop love of God. Specifically, love of God, not enmity, not hatred, because by developing that, then we can achieve relationship with Him in that realm, with that kind of sweetness. That is much better than just like emancipation without a positive attainment. It's described that Jadananda, happiness in this world, is like a drop of water compared to the ocean of happiness in Swargananda, in heaven. And that heavenly happiness is like a drop of water compared to the ocean of happiness in Brahmananda, experience of liberation. But that Brahmananda is like not even a drop of a drop of a drop of an abas of a drop, of a shadow of a drop of the happiness in Premananda, Prem Seva. Sevananda, relationship directly with Krishna, Srimati Radhika. So as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we're striving towards that. So therefore, Narad Muni described how to develop real love. And we have, later on in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a beautiful verse, Vikriditam vrajavadubi ridam cha Vishnu. Why I'm mentioning that verse particularly here? Because that's the verse Prabhupada leads his purport with, in this section. Because we're jumping now to the 10th canto. Why are we jumping from the 1st canto to the 10th canto? Because Prabhupada leads with that verse in the commentary, purport. Vikriditam vrajavadubi ridam cha Vishnu shradan vito anusuyad atavarniyad yad bhakting parang bhagavati pratilabhya kamam hridrogam asu apinoti achirena dhira. Our process is vidhi with rag pravriti. We follow all rules and regulations of spiritual life, because a lot of people, they say, oh, followers of Mahaprabhu, we don't need to follow Ekadashi, we don't know. We say, this is Atibadi. This is considered Apasampradaya, errant path, errant lineage. Apasampradaya, no. Atibadi, Chudadari, Gauranga, Nagari, these are all Apasampradayas. Gaudiya Vaishnava, followers of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we're following very seriously all Vidhi. All rules. It said, Pancharatra Vidimida, Ekantikir Hare Bhaktir, Utpat Eva Kevalam. You just become a nuisance in society if you don't follow rules and regulations. If you don't follow the rules and regulations, you become a nuisance, a disturbance in society. Therefore, we say we follow, but with the aim towards this rag, love for Krishna. Not, oh, if I don't follow, I'm going to go to hell. That's an obligation, not an opportunity. We have an opportunity because we do. The jiva is being blessed with that rare opportunity. Anarpita charin chirat karunaya vatirna kalau samarpaitum unata ujjvala rasam svabhakti shriyam hari purata sundara diti kadamba sandipada sada hridaya kandadesvara tuva Satchinandana. Satchinandan Gaur Hari has given us the most rare, special opportunity of service to Sri Radha Krishna. Like Yamuna Bihari saying, Radha Krishna Pranamor, Jula Kishore, Jivane Maranayara, Gati Nahi Mor. If we analyze this song, and then we contemplate why are we worshipping Radha Krishna in our temples. Krishna Balaram is there, Gaurnitai is there, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra is there, but also Radha Krishna is there as a prominent feature of Gaudiya Vaishnav theology and Gaudiya Vaishnav, like you could say, theology and practice. Right? Our theology in practice worships Radha Krishna. Why? Because the highest pinnacle of appreciation for Radha Krishna is that I can serve them with love without any personal desire for reward. You are my beloved, whether you reject me or accept me, trample me beneath your feet or embrace me. And this is the special mood of Gaudiya Vaishnavas who simply worship Radha Krishna without even desire for their independent meeting with Krishna. Radha Krishna Pranamo, Radha Krishna are my life and soul. Arranging your meeting is my objective. Nikunja yuno ratikeli siddhai. This is a mood of the gopi, especially the maidservants. And so what we are trying to do is develop appreciation for that mood. Appreciation for that mood of loving service. That ahaituki bhakti, real causeless devotion. I simply love you. I simply want to serve you without any expectation of reward. Reward is automatically guaranteed. Like we hear, it's described in Ras Panchadhyay. Krishna is thinking the gopis experience 10 million times more bliss and happiness than I do. How is it possible that they don't want it? Just because you don't want something doesn't mean you don't get it. So this is ahaituki bhakti, causeless devotion. Krishna, he can't help but give you bliss, because in his association, he is Anandamoy, he is blissful, and he is radiating Ananda bliss. So by being with Krishna, by being with the Brajabasis, automatically you're going to be blissful. But the caveat is that if you desire that reward from him, then he'll give you a Vaikuntha or some other abode, but not that abode of pure loving prem. Anyabhilashta shunyam, without any other desire. Anyabhilashta shunyam, no desire for your own separate happiness, but only existing for the happiness of Krishna. Najani apane sukh, sabhi vancha tar sukh amar tatparya, more jari dile dukh, tar hoy mahasukh, say dukh more sukha varya. Mahaprabhu said, your happiness is my happiness. If it makes you happy to have me suffer, that is my highest happiness. This is the speciality of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And this is the mood of Shikshastakam. And so when we worship Radha Krishna, not Krishna and me. It's not Krishna and me on the altar. It's Radha Krishna on the altar, and we worship them. That is bliss. That is beautiful. And then it said the highest reward is achieved. That experience of their loving relationship, we also can taste that experience ourselves. And so today we're praying to Radha Krishna, to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that they bless Jamuna Bihari Leela Vrindavan with the highest bliss, and their life can be a life of divine, loving engagement, blissful life, positive life. Tushti, pushti, and shuddhapayo. 3 things in bhakti shall come in their life. Tushti, pushti, complete satisfaction, complete nourishment, and cessation of hunger. To be always satisfied. Atmaram aptakam. We pray for them to have this blessing, and very quickly achieve your eternal identity in the spiritual world of Braj, in your ras that is according to your nature, and let that be so. It shall be so. It's guaranteed. There's no risk of being unsuccessful. The timeline may change, you may adjust your timeline, but there's no risk of being unsuccessful once you take a step on this path. So we're offering pranam here to you today, and very grateful that you're helping us fulfill the purpose of the ashram by performing these beautiful samskars, Vaishnav Homa, and festivals with devotees, spiritual education. This is what we're here to do. So thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhuvevacha pritanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. We'll have quick group puja.